Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for being here. If you are new to the channel, my name is Sophia and I make book-related videos, mainly videos about literary fiction as well as mystery thriller books, but truly a little bit of everything. And today I am back with my June wrap-up. June was a whirlwind of a reading month. For the beginning of the month, I had a great little thriller week where I read some really excellent new thrillers. Then I got myself into a massive reading slump by bringing some literary fiction on vacation, which just wasn't the vibe for this particular vacation. And then I came back and had a few wins at the end of the month, but also a lot of middle of the road books. And at the end of the month, I had a book that got me out of the reading slump, a 5-star read, but also a few middle of the road reads too. So it was kind of an all over the place month. And honestly, I'm excited to move on to July in terms of reading because I'm hoping better things are to come. But I did end up getting through 10 books, which is a great number for me, well on track for my reading goal, which I have actually already met. I've currently read 57 books this year. My reading goal was 50. So again, while June was maybe a little bit of a down month, I still am doing really well in terms of my overall reading year. And I'm excited to get into what I thought of each of the books. As usual, I'll be going from lowest rated to highest rated. So I will be starting with my least favorite book of the month. So my only 2-star read this month was The One Perfect Couple by Ruth Ware. This is a mystery, I guess more of a thriller novel about a couple that signs up to go on a reality TV show where they go to a deserted island, and it's kind of like Survivor meets Bachelor in Paradise. There are lots of different couples that are there. They're competing at different tasks, different people pair off, and eventually there'll be one couple that is left. The rest will be eliminated. However, once they get to this island, people start to die. Things are not quite what they seem. So we kind of go from there. I didn't have a problem with the writing necessarily of this book. On paper, this is a book that isn't really for me. I don't like these island survival stories. I find them kind of anxiety inducing. And in terms of thriller, I tend to like more of that like psychological small town type of vibe. And this didn't really have as much of that as I wanted. So, I did finish it. It was fine. It's not going to impact my thoughts of Ruth Ware as an author. I don't think I would have liked this book no matter who wrote it or what was going on. It's just not a trope that I love to read. So overall, it ended up being just a 2 stars. Next up, we have The Sirens by Amelia Hart. This was our Paws and Pages book club pick for April and May, ? I think. Our live show was a little bit delayed, but this was kind of our end of spring book, and we ended up having our live show recently. So I will link you guys over there if you're interested in seeing all of our non-spoilery and also spoilery thoughts. But this is a multi-POV book. Kind of the jumping off point is about a sister who is essentially kicked out of university because of waking up one night, I guess, early morning, and she is essentially trying to strangle a boy. And so he wakes up, she wakes up, they're like, what is going on? And she freaks out and ends up leaving the university to go stay with her sister. When she gets to her sister's place, everything is abandoned. So it kind of jumps from that plot point onto her trying to find her sister. Why is she missing? What's going on? So that's one point of view. You also have a historical perspective as well about 2 sisters who are basically on a prison ship, and you get a few little parts from them. But essentially, this book is about sirens, and that is not a spoiler. It is very present in all of this, and that kind of unifies different parts of the story. I enjoyed the reading experience of this, although I did find parts of it a little frustrating. It was very, very descriptive writing, which sometimes felt like it bogged down the story just a little bit for me, although I do acknowledge that that's a bit of a style preference. I also felt like some of the actions of the characters didn't really make sense. Like, I didn't understand why they were doing particular things that they were doing, and it didn't seem like a realistic way for somebody to act. But then again, I'm not a siren, and I haven't tried to murder anyone in their sleep, so I honestly don't know how I would react, I guess. Overall, I would say like the page-to-page reading experience was enjoyable, but there were a few issues that I had with it, so I ended up just giving it a 3 stars. Next up, we have the 2 literary fiction books that I took with me on vacation. First off, we have White Teeth by Zadie Smith. This is a sweeping epic novel about 2 families. It starts kind of in the World War II time period and moves on to more present day. It's about different people, so you get like some stories from the parents of the family and then also the children. And it has a very interesting structure kind of relating to teeth, although I won't get too far into that. Without a doubt, this had absolutely stunning, beautiful writing. Page to page, sentence to sentence, frame that, tattoo it on my body. Excellent. However, I think that this book needed a bit more editing and fine tuning. This was a debut. And I just felt like, even though it was supposed to be a sweeping novel that takes on a lot of different things, follows a lot of different characters, it felt just so broad. And I almost wanted it to be a little bit more focused. I think maybe I would have had more enjoyment reading it that way. Even though I did like getting the kind of like multi-generational perspective of all the different characters, it was just a lot to wrap my head around. It is very readable. Like you will, it's pretty pacey. There's always something going on. And I did really like the audiobook. If you like to read audiobooks, I think this would be an excellent one to try out that way. I just like something didn't quite come together for me. So I ended up giving this one a 3 stars as well. Next, we have The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison. I ended up rating this book 3 stars on Goodreads. However, I think truly it's more of an unrated book for me because I don't think I gave myself a real opportunity to delve into this book and really give it a chance. But this is my first Toni Morrison that I've read. It is a book about a young Black girl named Pecola Breedlove, and basically she has this self-hatred because she has always wanted to have white skin and blue eyes. She grows up in Lorain, Ohio, which is actually kind of around the corner from here, but is mainly a white community, and so she sees a lot of white children at school, and she's always had that desire to be white, essentially. This book takes on a lot of really difficult, hard themes to read about. And one of the central themes of this book is child abuse, particularly sexual abuse I definitely would be aware that that is a pretty large part of this story. I thought that the writing in here was so stunning. Like, beautiful, lyrical, really excellent prose. I just feel like this book needed me to read it in a time where I had a little bit more time and mental energy to fully digest it, to fully appreciate it for what it was. And yeah, I think it was not wrong book, just wrong time. So I gave it 3 stars because of my very conflicting feelings about it, but I think it is a book that I'm going to reread and kind of look at with fresh eyes in probably I'll give it a little bit of time, but I did want to just include it here since it was a book that I finished from cover to cover in the month of June. Next we have It's a Love Story by Annabelle Monaghan, and this is a contemporary romance about a director, a female director, and a cinematographer who basically are working together on the same script to try and get it to be successful. And it is a hate to love romance. These 2 characters have had kind of a meet cute before that did not turn out well. And then ultimately they reunite for this project, and it's kind of their story. The main character of this is very quirky, very like Zooey Deschanel, New Girl vibes. So if you like reading characters like that, you might enjoy this one. And the writing was definitely decent, but for some reason, this romance did not pull on my heartstrings the way that some of my absolute favorite romances do. I'm talking Emily Henry's, I'm talking Abby Jimenez. There was just something that wasn't quite there for me. So certainly a solid read. It was spicy in a few scenes, but I don't know. I only ended up giving this one 3 stars, unfortunately. I wish I would have enjoyed it a little bit more. Next, we have Count My Lies by Sophie Stava. This is a psychological thriller about a woman named Sloane who lies about everything. She lies about her name, she lies about her job, she lies about her history. And one day she kind of becomes embroiled in this couple's life. It's a couple and they have a young daughter named Harper, and it goes from there. The page-to-page reading experience of this was really enjoyable. It was very fast-paced. It was very plotty. I was very intrigued when I was reading it. However, the twists and the end of this were just a little ridiculous. So much so that I couldn't really get behind them, and it took me out of the story a little bit. So I also ended up giving this one a 3 stars. It was very middle of the road for a thriller. Next up, we have a couple of more successful thrillers. So first off, The Missing Half by Ashley Flowers. This is her newest release. She also had one other mystery release called All Good People Here. And this is a very summary, short thriller about 2 girls whose each of their sisters has gone missing several years ago in the same summer, and they team up to try and solve the case of what happened to them. This is very summary. One of the main character works at an amusement park, and so you definitely get those vibes. It's very short. It's very fast-paced. I did not guess the twist, and I gave this 4 stars. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Next up, kind of a surprise 4-star thriller for me was Middle of the Night by Riley Sager. A lot of people really don't like this one, and so I came into it a little bit apprehensive, but I ended up really enjoying it. So I would say that this takes on the theme of toxic suburbia. What is behind the perfect manicured lawns and the white picket fences? What is in those homes, and how does that, all play out? So basically 2 boys one summer evening decide to camp outside in the backyard, and one of them wakes up in the morning and there's a gash through the tent, and the other boy is of course missing, and it turns out that he's never been found, essentially. And so we flash forward to when the surviving boy is 40 years old, I believe, and he comes back to his childhood home for several circumstances and ends up trying to figure out what happened that summer. This is not like the most airtight thriller ever. There probably are a few plot holes in here, but I think it did what it set out to do really well. I did think it was really grippy. I liked the end of it. And overall, it was a really satisfying summer thriller. Next, we have Lilac Girls by Martha Hall Kelly. This is a World War II historical fiction. I haven't read one of those in quite a while, so this was a treat to pick up. It takes place basically from it starts in 1939, so the beginning of the war, and then you also go a little bit past the war as well, and follows 3 women in the war. And kind of the main thing that it discusses is the medical experiments that happened at a concentration camp and kind of how these women were all connected to that. I really loved the writing. I thought it was very transportive. I really got sucked into this book. I thought the plot was excellent as well. I did say historical fiction, but this is actually very much based on true characters who, for the most part, everything in here is true, although there are, a few things added in and a few liberties taken because, of course, we didn't know what happened at every single moment of these characters' of these people's life. But for the most part, this is based on a true story, and there is also some pictures in the back which are really interesting of different parts of their life. And yeah, I really, really enjoyed this. I don't know why I didn't give it 5 stars. It just didn't have that 5-star pull for me. And there are a couple other books kind of surrounding in this series that I'm really, really interested to pick up. Overall, I thought this was a really excellent read. And last but not least, the book that got me out of a reading slump this month is The Hunger Games. I decided to reread this because I'd seen so many people reading the new Hunger Games release, and I was having FOMO. So I wanted to get back to the original trilogy so that I could start to pick up some of these new releases. And reading this just was the nostalgia, addictive vibe that I needed. It felt like I was watching a movie. It's so descriptive. It's so addictive, but the themes in here and the characters in here just pulled at my heartstrings. I cried in the last scene, and I knew what was going to happen at every point in this book, and it still got me. So yeah, I already have the rest of the trilogy ordered. I definitely am planning to pick those up very soon, and I have read them. I do know what's going to happen, but I'm thoroughly enjoying rereading them. So I ended up giving this a 5 stars. So those were all the books that I ended up reading in the month of June. I would love to know if you've read any of these, and also what your favorite book of the month was. If you made it till the end of this video, leave me, I think for a vlog, I already did the bow and arrow emoji for Hunger Games. Leave me a purple emoji for the Lilac Girls. And with that, I will see you guys with another video very soon. Bye.